Sanford said. "Let's get this area secured." Using a roll of yellow warning tape, he established the boundaries of the crime scene while his partner blocked off the street and its adjoining arteries with traffic cones. Although out of the academy only 6 months, they both knew the routine: quick response, safeguard, and preserve. That is, secure the crime scene to protect all materials in the vicinity, because everything was considered evidence until proven otherwise. No one, not even another police officer, was to enter the crime scene until the detectives arrived. One of the most significant threats to a homicide investigation was the disruption of physical evidence. Nothing in the scene was to be disturbed, moved, stepped on, or contaminated in any manner. With the thermometer at 33 degrees, Sanford rolled up the fur collar on his standard-issue blue nylon jacket and shoved his hands into his pockets. He sucked a mouthful of damp air into his lungs. Rain was on the way. He sent his partner back to the gang-related conflict while he stood watch over the crime scene. In his boxing days, Detective Bill Jennings had a flat, rock-hard gut. Some 30 years later, the musculature was stretched thin by the ravages of abuse, resulting in a bulging beer belly. Nevertheless, he carried his weight well and never hesitated to throw it around, both literally and figuratively, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. By the time Jennings arrived at San Domingo Street, his partner, Angela Moreno, was already there surveying the scene. Moreno, 35 years old, with short-clipped brown hair, nodded at Jennings as he approached. "Long time no see," he said. "Yeah, what, 3 hours?" "What have we got here?" he asked as they walked over to the 2 bodies. "Looks like a hit and run. Got 2 of them," she said, kneeling down in front of one of the victims. "And we've got some broken glass. A headlight," she said, turning over a large fragment and looking through it. "Don't touch it," Jennings said, grasping her arm. "Saperstein should be here in a few minutes." "You called Saperstein again?" "He was the one on call." "You haven't even looked over the scene. It's just a hit and run. We don't need a criminalist poking his nose all over the damn street to tell us what we already know." "The man single-handedly saved my career, Angela." Moreno waved a hand. "I read the reports, Bill. It was a clean shoot." "Of course it was. But a white cop had just shot and killed a black kid. The media had a juicy story and took it for a ride. And with the election and all, I was a fucking political hot potato. People were tossing me around like I had the plague or something." Jennings shook his head. "I was guilty before the body was cold. Everyone bailed out on me except Saperstein." "I heard all about it. Don't you think I checked you out before I took this assignment?" "You never told me that," he said. "You checked me out?" "I vaguely remembered reading something in the paper about it. Then my vice partner started getting on my case, telling me I should look into it." She placed the glass fragment back where she had found it. "The comments you'd made back in '87 with Stockton PD didn't help any." "Yeah, well, those were taken out of context." "You don't have to explain," Moreno said. "I checked into it." Jennings stood up, his 5'9" frame putting him eye to eye with his partner. "When Saperstein took the stand and started explaining that the shoot happened the way I said it did, I felt vindicated. He had all these formulas that showed I was standing where I said I was, and that the perp had turned to fire on me." He pulled a pair of crumpled leather gloves from his pocket and struggled to insert his pudgy fingers. "Without Saperstein's analysis of the physical evidence, those accusations would still be hanging over my head. So don't give me shit about using a criminalist. I'm going to use one any time I can. And if you're smart, when you're primary, you will too." "But this just looks like a simple hit and run," Moreno said. "I don't care. What it looks like and what it turns out to be may be 2 different things. I'm not taking any chances." With the assistance of several other officers who had just arrived on the scene, they quickly canvassed the surrounding blocks to try to ascertain if anyone had seen or heard anything relative to the murders. 30 minutes had passed when a car drove up to the yellow police tape half a block away. Out stepped a man in his mid-40s, his hair an uncombed mess, his suit coat creased and covering a severely wrinkled shirt.